Hey guys, Brian here at the Vice. Tonight let's tie a 16th ounce black Marabou jig. First I'm going to take my red thread and I'm going to get that wrapped on there. Usually I like to put a good bed of thread on there. We're going to cut off our tag and we're going to give that a few wraps. I like just to get the thread locked on there really nice and uniform. Give the feather something really to lock down onto when we're all finished here. So now I'm going to grab my Marabou feather. There's a long side and a short side of the Marabou. I'm going to break that all down. I'm going to do a feather video, but I'm going to pick off the long side. And when you pull this off, you're going to get a little piece of like the feather shaft and stuff. Don't worry about that. You're going to trim that all off when you're done anyways. That side looks messy at first. So I'm going to kind of measure it up here on the body. I'm going to do what I kind of feel looks good on my perspective. I'm going to give it a couple wraps, and you've seen that pop down over the side there. That's fine. I'm going to cinch that down tight. Usually I like to put two pieces on here. The feather that I pulled this a little bit off of, it didn't have quite enough uniform long Marabou left on it, so I had to grab another feather here. And once I get that feather, I'm going to pull off a piece, and then I'm going to kind of judge and try to get it the same length. So once I get that pulled off, I'm going to kind of hold that up there and get that uniform with what was already on there. I'm going to give it a couple wraps. Try not to get that tag end of the first Marabou feather locked in there. So now I'm going to give it a couple wraps. I'm going to pull it down tight, and then I'm going to kind of move stuff around here to get it square on how I want it. I can move it around yet before I get it all completely locked down. I'm going to take it, I'm going to trim off my tag end here. Just kind of trim that off flush with the head. That's all going to get covered up, and that's what locks this Marabou down is all them tag ends that are sticking up. We're going to completely wrap that in. This is a 210D thread. I like using that on these Marabou jigs, especially these little bit bigger ones. It helps make short work of tying these in. We're going to get that all locked down nice and uniform. Once we get all these tag ends in, you see I'm just trying to make sure all these tag ends are covered up good. Give myself a nice little body of thread here. Once I get that done, I'm going to double check it. I'm going to grab my bobkin, pull this little piece of feather down here, get that pulled over the hook, make sure that looks good. I'm liking the way this is looking, so I'm going to pull my thread down, and I'm going to grab my whip finisher, and I'm going to give it a whip finish. And I kind of go along the thread here as I'm wrapping this whip finish around. It just kind of helps lock that all in together. I'm going to pull my whip finisher out of here, and I'm going to give it one good last look. I'm going to pull that down tight, and I'm going to cut off my tag end. Once I get my tag end cut off here, make sure everything's still nice and where I want it. Kind of pulling it back, double checking length. Now I'm going to grab my Sally Hansen hard as nails, and I'm going to get all the excess fluid off the brush, because I don't want a big glob on here. I want just a nice uniform coating over top of the thread wraps here. We're going to give her a nice little brush on there. And then what I like to do is I like to turn my vise a little bit. And I like just to make sure there's not a bead coming off the bottom. And there you go. We have our Marabou jig tied up. If you guys like these videos, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. I plan on doing this almost every week. So if you like these jig tying videos, come back for some more. We'll have more next week. Thank you, guys.